Hello ladies and gentlemen, today's going to be a video that is informative. What we're going to be instructing you about today is Ascensions and Refinery. Basically, how to get your weapons to the next rank, or how to get your character to the next rank, where you find the materials to have that happen, and what happens when you do that, okay? It's actually very, very, very important that you do ascend everybody, and you have to have certain ranks to get it. So I'm going to kind of go through the basics of it so that by the end of this video, you're going to understand ascending its entirety, and you'll know what steps to take if you want to ascend your character. Keep in mind that I do this as full time, and I love doing YouTube. So if you'd like to see more Genshin tutorials very similar to this one, I do them every single day. This is my one and only plug in this video. Consider subscribing. Let's go on with the video. Okay, I'm going to try and make this as simple as I possibly can, make it easy to understand. So if you look here, this is a character I would like to ascend. I really like this character. This is my healer, okay? Now you're going to know this, you get base stats, and the bottom one is the one you really want to look at. You're going to get base HP, defense, attack, all that stuff that people get. But each character gets a bonus base stat as well with Cindy. For instance, she's a healer, so she gets a healing bonus. But if I was going to go to one of my damage characters, this character, for example, and I want to ascend this character, look at this. The crit damage goes up as well. So it's really, really important we get the ascensions done. And now let's talk about how to get the materials in order to do that. Now, there's a number of ways to get the materials. Some of these can be crafted. When you actually click on it here, it's going to tell you where you can get them. Drop by level 4 the electros and crafted, okay? Now, what the crafting is it takes the lower tier 1 and upgrades. If you're familiar with Raid Shadow Legends or any of the other gacha games, it's basically like a potion system. You just take 3 of the previous one, it goes to the next one up. Therefore, you can do 3 of that one to the next one up, etc., etc., etc. That's how you craft them. You do that actually through the alchemy station. So that's one of the things I'm going to show you real quick while we're here. For instance, and I'm going to show you too while we're here, in the major towns, you see the guys with the diamond over and Marjorie, you can buy some of these materials. So what you can do, and there's a limited amount you can get, so be careful with them, but you can go in here, you can buy the materials, and then take those materials and craft them, okay? So let's say, I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and we'll grab red here. So let's purchase 3 red. Oh, I did 6 red. Oopsie. So now what we're going to do is we got the red. We can go over here to the crafting table just like this. You can craft right on it. Take 3 up. You get it, okay? It's actually fairly simple. There we go. Crafting perform. Let's make 1 of them, okay? It's going to take 3 of these. You can change your character if you have a character that has a bonus for this crafting. I don't. And then there you go. It takes a little bit of mana. Now we have one of those pieces. But there is other pieces that are not quite as simple, okay? And to keep in mind, to buy from this store, if you're wondering how you get the currency to buy from this store right here, these marks, you get these by playing around the game and either picking up like the investigate thing. So let me give you an example. So you know on the geo signals, you will be climbing a wall and they'll say randomly to investigate, and there's a little mountain peak there and they'll say geo signal +2. That's these. It's basically currency. The same thing happens with the win guys when you collect the win anemos and you get it, then you can spend it. There is only a certain amount of these you can collect, so you want to be kind of careful with them. I wouldn't recommend just straight up buying the cash, for instance. I would probably get the ones you really want. And then on top of it, oh, the K just jumped on the keyboard. On top of it, if you look here, the memory of the roving gales, okay? This piece is 225. You can get 1 of them from each Ascension store. And these pieces will go for the main character, basically, and help upgrade your main character. Now, some of them are going to take other pieces that are not craftable that you have to get from bosses. So if I want to take this character from 40 to 50, I'm going to have to beat a level 30 electro hypostasis. Keep in mind, because you need the piece that is its element, meaning this character needs an electric one, when you go to beat that boss, and I'll show you how to find the bosses in a second, when you go to beat that boss, you probably don't want to use the character that you're needing to ascend because it's the same element. So it can be kind of tricky. For this reason, you do kind of want a plethora of characters in order to be able to use them to kill the bosses, to get the pieces you need, or it can be kind of rough later in the game. Some of these require mining pieces. This part's especially annoying because it requires a lot of mining pieces, actually, when you get to the higher ascensions, unfortunately. And for that reason, in the beginning of the game, please do not skip any of these ores when you're going by them. The pink ones have to be destroyed with fire. The rocks can be beat with claymores or swords. Claymores will break through them much quicker. And really, the long and short of it, guys, is if you do not farm all of your ore every time you see them, you're going to be bottlenecked. I mean, I was doing it every time I see them, and I only have a couple guys that need these pieces, and I'm still bottlenecked. Keep your eyes out for the little plants that are sticking out of the ground too, as they drop these nectars, and you actually do have to craft these nectars into higher level nectars, or get them from higher level of the plants, which you get from upgrading your world rank, which comes with your adventure rank, okay? Did you follow all of that? Basically, the lower tier Ascension ones will drop at lower level enemies, while the higher tier Ascension ones would drop from the higher tier enemies. You can see this right in the game. This is dropped by whooping flowers. But if we go here and we go to another character and let's say, hey, we want to send a guy from 50 to 60, let's try to find one real quick. Well, actually, this is a pretty good example right here because this is a green one here. You see here that how it can be crafted, and this is a stained mask, and it's dropped from level 40, Hurley chose, range, etc. It's basically the same piece, but instead of being a gray version, it's a green version, okay? You understand? As the world rank my cat just knocked over something glass. As the world rank goes up, which happens, the first one happens at adventure rank 25, you do an Ascension quest, so will the level of the characters in the world, and so will the upgraded pieces drop, okay? For that reason, it can be kind of harder to get the original gray pieces. So if you didn't level up everyone in the beginning, and you need to get some of those lower ranked Ascension, you might want to hold them now, or it can be kind of hard to find lower ranked guys. But once again, you can craft these pieces. So if I wanted to level this guy up and say, hey, I want him to be higher rank, I can once again run back over to this thing right here, craft once again. And you not only can you craft these fragments and potions, but if you scroll down here, you're actually able to craft all kinds of things, including all the way up to blue pieces of gear that you're going to need later. If you look at this here, for instance, look at the stained mask. I have 59 of these, right? So if I take these and I go, look, I want to make 15 of them, okay? That's going to take 45 of these guys. Watch, right? There's my 15. Now I only have 14 of these guys left, meaning now that these are dropped instead of these, it's going to be hard for me to farm these, okay? That's my point. Okay, we need to talk about bosses so that way you guys can understand how to get the other pieces we're talking about. For instance, these pieces right here. If you look here, the Cleansing Heart, it's dropped by a level 30 Ocean, right? What is that exactly? So if we look here, we go up to our adventure book, which you get at rank 6, top right corner. You click on the bosses here, and you look through these, you can see the one you need. For instance, here's an Electro one for the Electro character we were talking about. Here's the Wind one. There's these are the Cryo flowers. Some of them require these, for instance. And let's say we needed one of these for my QQ character, the Frost character I have. So you could click Navigate on it. It will ping and show it to you right on the map where it is. You can then teleport close to it and go fight it, all right? After you kill the thing, it has a chance to drop loot as well as the heart things that you're going to need for your Ascension. You get both. Now, keep in mind when you actually look at this loot, okay, if you go to the Adventurer's Handbook here and you look at the loot, we're going to go fight this flower, right? Level 41. He's 40 plus, so we know that it's going to drop this one at a minimum, the level 30 plus one, okay? But look at this. You see all this gear all the way up to the yellow gear? In the beginning, you're not going to get that drop. It shows you that you can eventually get that when it becomes a higher level boss, when you upgrade your world rank, once again, by leveling up your adventure rank. And if you need to know how to do that, again, I have a video already for that. So you will not get this drop in the beginning. Don't expect to get it. You can get the purple ones fairly early, but you cannot get these yellow ones right in the beginning, okay? But let's go kill the boss, and I can show you the drop. Okay, here we got the boss fight. As soon as I kill him, not only am I going to get myself some experience in the adventure rank, which will help too with the Ascension. But on top of that, you can go ahead and get yourself the pieces you need. And really, to be honest, the real reason I do these is I'm trying to get good pieces of gear lately. So boss is down just like that. There we go. Now keep in mind, you have to have resin in order to claim the reward. So you do not get the hearts or the pieces you needed without actually claiming it. If you see here, there's some pieces that actually I'm pretty excited about that piece, but here's the fragments. There's a lower tier fragment, so you can get both the lower and the higher tier ones. Here we go. We got all of them. Let's go ahead and upgrade now that we got that last piece. There we go. We got everything. Now our Ascension is completed. Okay, now weapons, unfortunately, are a different story and are more complicated to ascend. If you look here, there's 3 different type of weapon Ascension materials. One of them is a fairly easy one, which can be dropped by slimes. The other one here is actually pretty hard. And the reason this one's pretty hard is these are dropped by Abyss mages. Some of the weapons require Ascension pieces that aren't exactly easy to get. I'm not understanding why they made it so hard, but for instance, I need 12 of these dead leyline branches, and these are dropped by Abyss mages, those guys that float around with the shields. Can you imagine how hard it is to find 12 of these just to ascend one weapon one time that's a 4-star, 1 rank? It's not easy. On top of that, you also get locked out by the day. If you look here, the third piece of Ascension gear, Kitty keeps attacking my computer, the third piece of Ascension gear is only open Tuesdays and Fridays. Some domains are open certain days, okay? And for that reason, Sunday is the day that all of the domains are available. So if you do not have if you don't have a very good schedule, for instance, for work, make sure Sunday is the day you go and just grind all your resin, all that stuff on Sundays, okay, if you can. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait for certain days to level up certain characters. Yes, you can craft these pieces, but again, it's kind of like the previous pieces I was talking about, where you need a large amount of the lower ones, and they're still pretty hard to get your hands on. For that reason, make sure you're being especially diligent about looking at the weapons ahead of time to know what pieces you're going to need and how long it's going to take or what days it's going to take for you to get that, okay? A refinery is actually very simple and is very important. So how refinery works is, those blue portions here, it says current HP above 90%, increase crit rate by 14%. That's blue. The blue will be changed based upon refinery. So if I add another of the same weapon here and refine it, check it out. The stats now go up, and it's now 17.5%, and the next one is going to take it to 21%, okay? It requires an identical weapon of the same one. You don't have to have that weapon leveled. You don't need to have the one you're crunching it into leveled, and there is no button to lock gear. So make sure you do not crunch the wrong piece of gear. This is critical. And since we're here just talking about the best way by far to level materials is using these pieces, and you get these from the blacksmith. So again, while you're farming those ores, you're going to get like chunks, white chunks, iron chunks, stuff like that. And you use those at the blacksmith to turn into these, which then give you the most experience basically out of anything. And will also save you from having to use your weapons as experience. Now, 1- and 2-star weapons are useless, but there is some pretty good 3-star weapons. So you might want to be careful and look at the 3-star weapons if you're free to play or not someone that's got tons of the 4-star weapons. If you haven't been lucky or anything, some 3-star weapons might actually be what you're using. For instance, my buddy Kyra Mobile, he pulled Kaching on the first pull. He got 5-star. We couldn't believe it. And he obviously didn't have weapons. He just started the game. So he's using a 3-star weapon that is refined. It's especially important to ascend your weapons. And the reason being, increases the base attack by a lot. And some of these characters use crit damage as kind of like their main component, and crit damage is a multiplier, so you need the base attack to be as high as possible. I mean, this sounds stupidly obvious, okay? But AKA, if your base attack on your weapon's low, you ain't gonna do no damage, so you gotta ascend. Artifacts are a way more complicated topic, and I'm going to cover these in detail with sets and builds and things like that on a different video. So make sure if you want to see that one, you know what to do, okay? But that being said, mostly you want to be really careful with your artifacts. I'm going to throw this out there now. If you're just starting the game and you have your artifacts, the only way you can enhance these, if you go to enhance it and you're like, yeah, I like this one, I'll level it up. You click auto add. You can only enhance these by using other pieces, meaning if you don't have a backlog like I do where you save all your pieces, when you get these good pieces of gear later in the game, these purple ones, you're not going to have any other artifacts because you've crunched them into crappier pieces of artifacts. Save all 1-star, 2-star, and even a lot of the 3-star artifacts all the way till you start getting decent artifacts that have decent sub rows. Some of these artifacts here, you notice, have substats like crit rate, defense, HP, stuff like that. So if you don't have substats, you probably don't want to level your artifact, but that's as far as we're going to go on artifacts today. With all that being said, your boy has to go work on my Genshin Impact characters. So if you would like to see me ascending, refining, and progressing through the game live, I am currently live right now as of the posting of this video at twitch.tv/Darth Microtransaction, and I will put a pinned comment with the link so you can just click on it. Thanks again. I appreciate the subscribes and the likes. I hope this video was informative. If it was, do consider leaving a comment letting me know it was informative. I do follow the comments lately, and I'm doing my very best to put out the content that you guys want to see. So if you want to see a video, let me know, and I'll do it for you. Love you all, and I'll see you on the next video. And Kitty says goodbye.